Hey, everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Nathan Canilao, Christian Babcock, and Joseph Dycus. Guys, tip of the cap, we are all done, sort of. No more games, no more high school football games for many, 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 many months. Great job by all. Great job by everyone out there who read our coverage all season. Can't thank you enough. This has been our pick show is always, we always hear about it when we go out to games, as you guys now know. And people do watch this. Christian, the rookie, what a performance, Christian. Great late season comeback to win it all with 149 correct predictions in the 2024 football season to edge me out by 2 games. It beat Left Cow by 5. You beat Nathan by 7. And Joseph, you were 26 games back.
I know. I mean, Christian Babcock pulling off that Wes Unseld Rookie of the Year and, I guess, winning the MVP. So, respect to you. I wasn't about the wins. I was just trying to have a good time. We talk about don't take it too seriously. All made in good fun, right? So
of course it's all good fun, but
I had plenty of fun, and I finished above 500, so I can't complain.
Nathan, you have a shout out for Christian?
Yeah, Christian pulled off you talk about Wes Unseld, Joseph. I think he pulled off a Magic Johnson-esque finals over there. That was a pretty good run there, Christian. Yeah, he was diving deep, and I was trying, but I think like Joseph, I think it was all good and fun.
It was all in good fun. Christian, you have the floor for a few seconds before we move on to some fun topics that we're going to address here on our season-ending 2024 high school football season pick'em show.
Yeah, well, I should definitely thank Nathan. That's probably the first and last time I will ever get compared to Magic Johnson, so that's pretty cool. I guess I wore the right colored shirt. I've never scored, what was it, 44 points in Game 6? Is that what he did?
42.
Okay, I was close. But yeah, it's an honor. I would like to thank Cal Preps for giving me knowledge that I do not have and was actively acquiring as much as possible. Yeah, and I'd like to thank the Orange Kool-Aid for powering me through from a couple weeks ago. So it's been a fun ride. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, congratulations to you. Like I said earlier, we're going to have a little bit of fun on the show. Before we get to the state recap, we'll do that real quick. We're going to talk about our guys' favorite games that they covered, favorite overall memory from this season. We're going to put the commissioner's caps on you guys, and if you were CCS, NCS, or CIF, what change would you want to see before the 2025 season? And also, what are you most looking forward to about the 2025 high school football season? But let's start with the state recap real quickly. Nathan and Joseph were in Southern California to see 4 games. 4 games. 3 on Friday and then 1 on Saturday. Real quickly, I'll start with Joseph. This was your second time down there?
Third time
down there. What memories are you going to take from state championship weekend?
All right, rapid fire. 1, finally got to see someone win a game. Shout out to Monroe Catholic for being our only champion to come out of SoCal. They won at Fullerton Union High School Stadium. They defeated an overmatched Lindsay team. More about that later. I thought Amador Valley was going to come back and win against Frontier of Bakersfield. Was not to be. Their pass rush was just too good, but great season by Amador. And then De La Salle, their offense did absolutely nothing in that first half. Actually, probably less than nothing. I think they had negative yardage at one point. And then out of nowhere, they make it a game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. It's 23-15. They're about to sack the Marde quarterback for a safety. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's about to happen. And it didn't quite happen. But
real quickly, I'm going to pause you there. I'm going to give a little inside sports journalism here. We write during games, especially when you're in a real press box. And at Saddleback College, they have a real press box with stats being kept for you. Mm-hmm. So Joseph's able to write during the first half, and it was such a one-sided first half that basically the story was written. And he went downstairs to feel the action down there, thinking that the game was over. And Joseph, you had to make a U-turn.
Oh, I felt the action all right. I actually felt the wind, the gust of wind as Toa Fave runs 41 yards through their defense, and he makes it a one possession game. And I'm like, oh, time to go back upstairs.
Right.
And for those of you who have been to Saddleback College, they have very possibly the slowest elevator of all time.
Scariest elevator of all time.
I hear cheering after that. I'm like, oh, what was happening? And I thought, oh, maybe Mater Dei's about to score. And finally get up to the press box. And I look down, and I see literally as I'm walking to my spot again, I see the Mater Dei quarterback literally about to get sacked.
Play of the game. Play of the game. Besides the missed touchdown to Blanche, it was definitely the play of the game. That where the quarterback was able to escape and made an incredible throw for a first down. So anyhow, let's go move on to Nathan real quickly. Nathan, your first time down there for the state football championships. You saw Pittsburgh lose a heartbreaker, and then you were there with Joseph for De La Salle. What was your real quick take from state championship weekend?
Well, first the dinner on Saturday was great. The rib sandwich that was amazing. I'll shout out that. But no, Pittsburgh. I covered the Pittsburgh game. It was real heartbreaker there. That's usually a game that at least in the last couple of weeks they've been able to pull out. But I think it was a great season for them. I think Coach Charlie Ramirez, talking to him after the game, it was he was in good spirits, and then he really was proud of the team. So I think that was. I think it was, they were right there. They're a 2-point conversion away from tying. And it was, they burned a timeout, and we could go back and say there's some decisions that were made, but overall, I thought they had a good season. And then De La Salle, I was, as Joseph was writing and he was going back up the elevator, I was I had notes down. I had my questions for Mater Dei, and I had to scratch all that out and, at least put some stuff if De La Salle win, but it was a storming, they stormed back, and they made it competitive at the end. So that was always good. And it was surprising how many Bay Area kids are on Mater Dei as well. We wrote about that for Monday Morning Lights. And
it really is amazing. I'm going to give myself a shout out. I told you guys last week that that game, when I did not predict a running clock in that game, because that was one of our questions. I told you it's going to feel like they're so far out of the game. You're going to be like, what? There's no way. And then in the third quarter, you're going to look up and you're going to go, what just happened? And that's exactly what happened.
Christian, you have the floor.
Yes, I will say, Darren, you were right about that. However, if we were to go inside our text group chat, I do not think that was the overwhelming sentiment when Mater Dei scored the first 2 touchdowns, including from you. I think it was shared by all of us at that point in time. But yes, eventually you did become right. Yeah, but yeah, I was able to watch that game from home. I mean, fantastic job by De La Salle to get back in that game. It was
For
really
what it's worth, De La Salle, there were definitely some naysayers in the press box. We will not name names, but Nathan, you know who they were as well. And I will say, I believe that not to get hyperbolic, but I think De La Salle may have saved
the open
division game, because if they had gotten 52-0 or whatever, we've been sitting up here today being like, oh, why are we playing this game? What's the point of this game? Like that person was just asking. Whereas now, it's 37-15, but it was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter, which Justin Allenbaugh, De La Salle's coach, told us before the game. That's all they want. We want a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. Anything can happen. And they let Mater Dei go on a big drive. And Mater Dei, by the way, they're not just talented, but there was a throw that the quarterback Dash Byerly made to Mark Bowman, the tight end, who's probably going to play major college football, where it just barely grazes the De La Salle defender's hands, dropped right in the breadbasket. And you're just on top of being physically bigger than everybody else, they can do that. It's hard to beat.
It is really hard to beat. Well, great job, everybody. Through the last week, 16th week of the high school football season, 16th and final week. So anyhow, we're going to have a little fun here. You guys saw a lot of high school football this fall. Mm-hmm. We're going to start with your favorite game you covered. And I am going to start with, let's go with Nathan first. Yeah. Nathan, your favorite game of the 2024 high school football season?
It was a recent game. For me, it was Pitt Folsom. I remember sitting when Folsom goes up 21-0, and I'm sitting there like, oh man, this is gonna get ugly at Pirate Stadium. And
you sent the text. Pittsburgh
said they
shook.
were shook. I said they were shook.
If the readers or viewers could see our group chat, I think they would enjoy that.
Yeah, and then Pitt comes back and they win that game, and I mean, just the scene on the field was pretty crazy. Nothing I've ever seen before. Packed stands, smoke from food everywhere. Like it was just one of the. I mean, it just encapsulated Friday Night Lights. So for me, Pitt Folsom was my favorite game to cover this year.
There you go, Christian. Your favorite game?
Yeah, so I got to throw in a couple honorable mentions because I don't want them all to get swept under the rug. Los Gatos Wilcox has to be in there. That was a great game. Great performance by Braden Rosa at Los Gatos, breaking that big streak for them. I also have to throw in Los Gatos Sarah and Los Gatos Reardon. Phenomenal games. Both of them came down to the wire. Great to see just well-played playoff games come down to the end, and that the one I'm going to pick, St. Francis Grant, was the absolute epitome of that. You had St. Francis going for two late in the game, getting it, going up, and I think Greg Calcagno said it best at the end of the game. That was just a game where whoever got the ball last, whoever had the most time at the end was going to win. That ended up being Grant. So fantastic high school football game. Really fun to watch.
There you go. You saw a lot of great games this fall. Hopefully that continues. Joseph.
All right, so honorable mentions are De La Salle Pitt, obviously, Mac Reardon in week 1. But the two games that I have circled, one of them is Campolindo Acalanes, the regular season matchup in the rain, where Acalani celebrates with what would I guess be a felony in Ohio by planting the flag on
Did they pass
field.
that law? Did they pass it yet?
No, a proposed felony, I suppose.
Okay.
Great game, rain, bad weather, gritty performance by both teams. But the other one I have is Alameda and Encinal, the Island Bowl. You get there I got there 2.5 hours before the game. The JV game had just started. The stands were packed. People were lined up around the field waiting for this game. It's on real grass. I was like, this feels like old school high school football. Alameda blew out Encinal. But I was like, it was a really fun game. So those are my two.
So you're going with two.
Two, yes.
You're going with two and two honorable mentions. Nathan, do you want an honorable mention?
Yeah, honorable mention for me would be Northgate Las Lomas. Absolutely, it was early season. It was a pole game. It was absolutely packed, and Northgate pulled off. Probably one of the bigger upsets for us this season. I don't think anybody picked. I think they were like a 35-7 underdog that game.
Right.
And they ended up beating Las Lomas, who at the time was undefeated. So that for me was an insane game.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, this next one, just your favorite overall memory. It obviously doesn't have to be a game that you covered from the 2024 high school football season. We'll go in reverse order. We'll start with Joseph. Who do you got?
Definitely sitting in Denny's running. I'm just kidding. No, mine is honestly. I mean, honorable mention. By the way, don't have to write this down. Honorable mention is Irvington American game we went to. It was like a Thursday
game.
It was a fun game. It was just like I mean, you don't expect those teams to play great football, but it was entertaining. But the one I actually have is the Half Moon Bay kid, Adler Holtman, running for 7 touchdowns in a 48-45 victory. And at a certain point, I remember the Half Moon Bay coaching staff asking me, "Hey, how many touchdowns does Adler have? Okay, how many rushing yards did he have? Oh, he's got 6. Okay, the school records would be 7. So like, hey, we're gonna give him a touchdown." And it was a close game, so it wasn't stat padding either. Like they needed every score. That was a great game. So yeah, Adler Holtman, 7 touchdowns against Foothill.
That's a great one. Christian, what do you got?
Joseph, they're using you to break the ethical rules of journalism there against your will. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'd have to say, I mean, just generally speaking, getting to know a lot of the coaches and, being in or around the locker room and the post-game settings was really cool. I mean, at a couple games at SI come to mind, the upset over Sarah was incredible. But I think I'd have to give it to Los Gatos Reardon. I mean, that just was a game with a great atmosphere. Beautiful setting there in the city. I wasn't expecting, you can really see sort of the outlay of the city and how it's all, all over the hills. Very cool view of the city. The game was fantastic. And Los Gatos squeezed everything they had out of that game. It was a fantastic performance by them. Just a fantastic game to watch. And again, came down to the very end. Hail Mary play caught out of bounds by about a yard. So you can't ask for much better than that.
Definitely. Nathan, what you got?
So honorable mention goes to it's not really a memory, but I just loved every time I covered O'Dowd and they ended up winning. Hardy Nickerson had the Twitter dragon, the GIF going on, so that was always great. But my favorite memory was covering Ignacio Valley. They, as you know, coming into the season, they had the longest losing streak in the state. They hadn't won in 5 years, and then they think they win in week 2. They beat Redwood Christian, and then they actually ended up winning 3 more. So. That's a great group out there. They're a young team, and they might be, give them a little bit of time. They might be, really competitive. But yeah, winning 4 games after, losing, it was like 50 something straight. I think that was just amazing.
I think it might have been in the 30s.
30, I think like 35.
30s, yeah, 35, yeah.
All right, that's a good one. This next one, you guys are gonna put your commissioner's caps on, or your executive directors. If you were CCS, NCS, or CIF, what changes would you like to see be made before the 2025 high school football season? We are going to start off with Christian. You're first this time.
Okay. Well, I don't really have a ton of stuff in the NCS or CCS realm, to be honest. But if I were, well, I guess you could say from an NCS CCS perspective, this would be a CIF change, as I understand it. But I think you got to have some of the state title football games up here. I know it's probably logistically a lot easier for them to have them all in one place. I get their advantages. The weather's a little better there, although it still gets chilly down in SoCal at night, which I'm sure Joseph and Nathan experienced. They didn't get rained on as much as we did last weekend, but I think, if you're going to truly have state championship games, you got to have some up here. I know they used to do that. So that would be my argument. You need to have some state championship games up here for sure.
There you go. And share hoops with them down there with SoCal. They've been in NorCal forever.
Wow.
Nathan, what do you got?
Yeah, so a couple of things on the CCS side. I think we have room for expansion. We had a couple teams this year that I think had over 7 wins that didn't make the cut. Some really talented teams. So I know it's 5 divisions for CCS. NCS I think is 7. I would like them to expand it even just one more division. I think that would be great for everyone. And then for both, but I think one open division final I think would be great for everyone. I think we talked about it when it came to this time a couple weeks ago, like San Marin playing De La Salle as the 8th seed. I mean, it was not great. I think we should just have one open division final. The loser plays in Division 1. That still is the same. But have those 6 other teams battle it out to get to the final, rather than having almost an automatic loss in the first round when you have to play De La Salle and you're a smaller school like San Marin
or Pittsburgh. So go straight to De La Salle, Pittsburgh. That's what you'd like to see. Just
one
game for the Open Championship, maybe 2 weeks into the playoffs.
Yeah, I would give them a bye. The first round is a bye, and then the second week give them the
then the loser would play in the final the next week for Division 1.
Yes, yeah, I think that just is a better system overall.
Very good. You got your cap on, Joseph.
I did. My commemorative 2022 Oakland A's Jackie Robinson Day hat. This is my commissioner hat.
Uh-oh. You're going to have some big takes coming then.
Actually, my take was kind of what Nathan had said. We don't need 8 teams in the NCS Open.
What about CCS Open? Do you like that? I mean, they're exact same brackets.
Yeah, we can say that as well. Although maybe it's just this year there wasn't one dominant CCS school in the way that De La Salle and even Pittsburgh. I mean, there's no reason for them to be playing Clayton Valley and San Marin first round. I would say the other one is this is something I've been thinking about for a minute now, is again being here in Oakland, shout out to the A's.
RIP Oakland A's.
RIP Oakland A's, but it's the OAL should just be a league within the NCS, because McClymonds, yes, they basically get to go to NorCal every year as the perennial champion, but I look at a team like Oakland High, or the year before that, Oakland Tech or Castlemont. Those are teams that could compete in like an NCS D6 or D7, maybe even D5 some years. And instead, they're just relegated to, okay, you lost to MAC and now you're out of NorCal, or you're out of playoffs. I'd like to see it to where instead of, the OAL has their regular season and then they go into the NCS playoffs like everybody else. That's what I would do. And secondly, I would also, and that Murrow Catholic, you had a great year. But they were in Division 7 when I think it was kind of proven that they were really better than Division 7. More so at the state level, actually. I think NCS was still fairly competitive between Ferndale and Del Norte. Mm-hmm. So I think CIF needs to really look at teams like Moreau. They could have been in D5, and you look at Acalines or Carmel, and they're D5. And I'm like, these teams are probably better than that.
All good points. I'm gonna throw one question out to all of you guys. I mean, did De La Salle save the Open? Do you guys want to continue seeing the Open, or what do you guys think? Joseph, I'll start with you.
I think they saved it because now there is actual tangible proof that this game can be competitive for at least 12 minutes, which I think is more than has been competitive in the last 5 years.
Since De La Salle was last in 2019.
Yes, I do think that if De La Salle or whoever, Pittsburgh or Sarah or St. Ignatius, if they play in it next year and it's 52-0, and we're like, oh, that was just kind of a fluke, I would say they haven't saved it per se, but they have thrown it some life support. They've thrown a little
extended it for at least one more season. Let's see what happens. I'll go to Christian and then Nathan real quick.
Yeah, I think, you guys are right. De La Salle definitely put up a good argument this year for why you should still play that game. I really liked what Justin Allenboss said in the lead up to that game. We want to have the chance to compete against the best. Now, I'm not sure how all the top teams in our coverage area feel about that. I think they would all say that. Deep down, I'm not sure if they feel they can really compete. There's just sort of a structural imbalance at this point with the way high school football is down there and the amount of transfers there are these days. But I think they extended it for another year. And I'll say this, I hope in the next couple of years there's another team that goes down there and maybe even closes the gap a little further, maybe not winning. I mean, I think that would be tough to envision in the near future. But maybe in a couple of years they win one, or at least keep it within a touchdown or two late into the fourth quarter. That's what I'm hoping to see. I think, this North versus South thing, I think if you just have Bosco and Mater Dei play every year, that's not really fun. And it just sort of, enforces and incentivizes the system we have now, which is, everyone just goes to these big powers in SoCal. And I don't think that's what most people want for high school football.
Nathan, real quick.
Yeah, well, I feel like until that system is broken in the South, I really do think, and I know De La Salle made it competitive, but I just feel like until the history, the last couple, 10 years has told us that the South has ruled this. And unfortunately, until something happens in the South or, in overall in the state that can regulate some of these big time transfers, I'm more on the train that we should be. I mean, that this game should probably be just Bosco Mater Dei, have De La Salle, play, the Division 1A and then go all the way down. But I will give props for De La Salle because I do think they saved it for at least a couple more years. But I think overall, I think it should change, probably pretty soon.
And it's still only 2 schools down there. I mean, we're talking LA. The Southern California market is so huge, and we're talking 2 schools have ruled that division since 2016, so almost a decade. We are going to wrap it up with what are you guys looking forward to the most for the 2025 football season? And we'll start with Nathan and work our way around. Nathan, what are you looking forward to next season?
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to for me is, obviously I've covered Pittsburgh a lot, and they lose, I think, 30 or 40 seniors. They lose a lot, and I'm curious to see. They still have a lot of talent coming back: RJ Mosley, Truly Bell, Kenny Ward. But I'm interested to see how they rebuild this because I thought Marley, Juju Walls, a lot of their guys, Jamar Cersei, were really the heartbeat of that team, and so I'm interested to see. I know there is a school that we'll see, might have a mass exodus here, but I think I'm interested to see how Charlie rebuilds this program from the, losing all those guys and how they're going to compete next year.
Christian.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what St. Ignatius does next year. I mean, they're really a surprise team, I think, as far as we all were concerned, to win to that extent, to win the CCS Open title. in Lenny Vandermeer's second year. And they're losing some key guys. I mean, Soren Hummel, senior quarterback. John Mills will be out there. They're big offensive linemen. They're going to have to replace some of these guys who are big foundational pillars of the program. And some of those guys will be back next year. But they're going to have to – they're not sneaking up on anyone anymore. Everyone knows what second half SI is. Everyone knows that you're going to get 4 quarters from them. They might wear you down, make a comeback at the end. So they're going to have to, whether it's transfers, whether it's bringing in new kids just naturally as freshmen and continuing to develop them. I think the future for SI is going to be something to watch for sure.
Very good. Joseph?
I'm looking forward to seeing 2 things. One is the DAL is because you have Clayton Valley Charter. We all thought they would just, or at least quite a few of us thought they would, pick up where they left off, dominate the DAL after returning from the EBAL. That wasn't the case this year, and I'm wondering, is Akalani's now just the team to beat in the DAL, or Camp Lindo? They have a lot of guys coming back, their 2 best players, and then what is Clayton Valley? What are they going to do? I think it's going to be one of the more interesting leagues. And the other one is De La Salle, I believe, was 2 for 14 passing, and I think it's been pretty well established. The Veer is an incredible offense against most opponents, all except the very, very, very best. And I know a couple years ago they tried to go to a spread, and that lasted 3 weeks.
More than that, but yeah, it's.
I'm interested in seeing if De La Salle does try to incorporate a little bit more modern principles in their offense next year, in an attempt to kind of be a little more competitive with some of these top tier SoCal schools.
Very good points. I'm going to throw in a couple. One is Sarah. Will Sarah be back next season? Was this a 1-year hiccup? Did not anticipate Sarah going 5-6 after beating Folsom in week 1. The second one is the top of NorCal. I still think De La Salle is going to be the team to beat, but Folsom with Ryder Lyons back, they haven't been to the Open Division. They've the highest they've been. They've won a lot of state titles. 1AA is the highest they've been. Will Folsom have the goods to make it to the Open Division? Do they even want to be in the Open Division? I mean, Nathan, you've seen them a couple of times. I mean, could you see them making the Open Division next season? And would that close the gap, or would that even widen the gap even more if they're down there playing Mater Dei or Bosco?
Yeah, I mean they have a quarterback to do it. It's but as you guys have seen have written about, I don't know if they. I mean, if they were in Mater, if that was them against Mater Dei, I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's that close.
It's not 37-15 or 23-15 going to the fourth quarter.
No, I think that game is probably over. Probably in the first half. So I don't know if they want to be in Open Division. I think they would be actually perfectly fine being in 1AA again, playing Pittsburgh for a 3rd year in a row. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if I don't think Folsom would want that going up to the Open.
All right. That's all the questions I have. If you guys want to throw 1 or 2 more things out, we're only 30 minutes in, which is a short show for us.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts? Anything you guys want to address?
Yeah, I'll shout out some teams that I think had a really good year. Arroyo and Jeffrey Pride had a really great year. I think the first winning season since 2012. So that was a fantastic job by them this year. And then obviously YV had a great year. And I'll shout out Mount Diablo, who gave me the most exciting post game I've ever seen, with the fireworks and the apple cider and the it was amazing. The music, the DJ was playing music. So I think that was probably the best post-game interviews I've had all year. So I'll give those 2 schools a shout out.
Christian?
Yeah, I have some shout outs, but I have a question. I know we've discussed this a little bit internally, but what do you guys think St. Francis is going to do next year? They lose Aaron Knapp, they lose Kingston, they lose some big leaders on defense. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with St. Francis. What do you guys think about that?
That's a great point. Their tradition over the last decade have been they've had these great senior heavy teams, and then they take a dip back the next season and then come up with yet another, rather than keeping it. They almost like what Sarah did this year, where Sarah took a dip back. I mean, they'll be competitive. They won't be an easy team on anybody's schedule, but I don't know if they're going to be at the level where they were this season, which was almost playing for a state championship. Oh, Joseph, you've seen them. What do you think?
I mean, I've heard this. They have like three other Canilao brothers on the team.
That's true.
Yeah.
The one's pretty good. The one who
I think they played. Perrion Williams, I think, is a senior. Is going to be a senior. Canilao brother is got snaps at running back, and then they had this freshman named Jalen Lewis, who was starting for them at defensive end. I think St. Francis will still be, they'll win 7 or 8 games and be competitive. Kind of like what Darren said. I don't think they're going to go like 4-6 or 5-5.
Yeah. Nathan, real quick, what do you think?
Yeah, I believe St. Francis. I mean, obviously St. Francis, when you lose a lot, it's going to be hard to kind of come back. But I do think that with their culture, I think they'll probably be closer to Sarah, where you're going to be like a tough out most nights. So I think it'll be interesting to see, like you guys said, the Canilao brothers, how they kind of fit into this, and if they have some young players, might be just a year to kind of test those young players out and see what you got for the next year. But I do think they'll still be very competitive next year. It's St. Francis. It's a good program, so I'm excited to see that.
Joseph, you'll get the last word.
I think Joseph froze up.
Joseph, he froze.
In the interim, I do have some shout outs if I can give them real quick. I want to shout out McDonald High School. I was out there covering them the beginning of the season, and they got whooped by Santa Clara, which makes sense. It's your first game. They had some transfers that weren't eligible yet. They really turned it around. They got 4 wins. It was great to follow them all year. And I just want to say, thanks to all the coaches, thanks to all the people who came up to us and said they watched and liked the show, even those who said they didn't like our picks. That's really what high school football is about, and what makes it thrive is the community interaction, and we had it all year long. So we really appreciate it, and all the coaches that helped us out.
There you go. Joseph, you're back. You're not frozen anymore.
Yeah, I am back. I'm back. Okay, so real quick, like Christian said, I'd like to thank all the coaches, parents, players, administrators, etc., who helped us cover this season. One of the highlights every year is getting parents, usually as I'm standing in the concessions line, to get a hot dog or something, be like, "Hey, why'd you pick us, or why'd you pick against us?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, so and so." It's always fun to just talk to parents and let them know we're more than just a byline on a story, like we are, in fact, real people. I'd like to give a shout out to a few teams. Oakland High. Terry Hendricks told me last year, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be good in a few years," and I was like, "Okay, we'll see. You've lost 20 games in a row as a school." He proved me wrong. Shout out to Piedmont. They had that magical year last year. I thought, okay, kind of a fluke. They're moving up a division. And they went 9-1 in the regular season and reached the second round of the Division 7 playoffs in NCS. Shout out to them. And then Moreau Catholic, they won it all. And I'll give a shout out to Dion Evans, assistant coach at Moreau Catholic. He made sure that all of his players read us and didn't screenshot our articles, but he actually had them subscribe and read, which I really like. And he was
remember, the subscriptions keep us going.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I actually listened to his podcast, and he was marveling at the fact that before the team even got on the bus back to the Bay Area, like as they were leaving the stadium, our article had already been posted. So we take it seriously, and we thank you all for your support this year.
There you go. Thank you to all of you guys, the 3 here, for carrying this. Mike Lefkow and I kind of, we had to blend 2 major sections into one product, and it's been a lot of work. And this is having the readers read us through the years, and now you guys are doing great stuff. And
actually, I'd like to give a shout out to Glenn Reeves, Dave Kiefer, Justice Delasanto, Mike Lefkow, Evan Webeck, and Justice, and all of our freelancers, and just people who have jumped in and helped us cover. 3 of us cover games, but we couldn't do everything we do without them. So
and our photographers,
Jose Fajardo, Ray Chavez,
Carl Mondon,
Nat,
Shay Hammond. Yes, the list goes on and on. Jane, I think, went out to a few games.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Nat.
Yeah, and then Doug Duran, Doug Zimmerman, Jim Gensheimer, my boy D. Ross Cameron,
And the two.
and a Chew. Shout out to all of you guys for helping us out. And anyone else we didn't mention, we appreciate.
What about your boy down from Gilroy? Didn't he shoot a couple of games this year? TNN?
I think he may have shot some games too. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Doug
Oh, yeah.
on.
He did.
Yes. All right. Plenty of shout outs. Again, thank you guys for everything. Thank the viewers for watching. We'll be back next season. Might do a couple of these shows during basketball once the playoffs hit, maybe.
Mhm.
A little fun with during basketball. Other than that, check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Sign up for that digital subscription. And that's a wrap for, one last thing. The all-area football team. Guys are working on it now. It is scheduled to run early January. So be sure to check out, we'll have that in a couple weeks. So everybody have a great holiday, and thanks for watching as always.